to where Edwin, this powerful Anglo-Saxon king, became a Christian. And then in the 9th century, the Vikings came to Europe. For years we didn't really appreciate how much York had to do with the Vikings. We now know it's one of the most important Viking centres. And the name of York is a corruption of Jorvik. Jorvik, okay. And then after the Vikings, you had the Normans in the 11th century, when the Conqueror came up here, built not one but 2 castles. And actually one of the early Norman towers still exists. It goes back to probably about the 14th century, but Clippers Tower is there at 5E. And Clifford's Tower, as I say, there was a fortification at Clippers Tower long before the present building now stands. And in the 13th century there was a program here in that there was a large Jewish population living in York, and a rumour went through the community that the Jewish population had murdered a young child as part of their rituals. It was completely untrue and false, but nonetheless people believed it. And the Jewish population in the city gathered at Clippers Tower, and a baying lynch mob gathered beneath the tower. And these people in the tower, rather than die at the hands of the lynch mob, they killed each other. And there is a Hebrew word for this, which somebody told me many years ago, and I wish I had written it down. But it's not the first or last time that happened. But for many, many centuries, Orthodox Jews were lost overnight in York because of this program. And eventually, in fairly recent years, the Lord Mayor of York apologised to the Jewish nation, and that ban was lifted. But Clippers Tower, it does have a plaque on the side of the tower reminding us of that program. With Henry VIII in the 16th century, the community began to go into economic downturn. This was a very, very prosperous place up until the 16th century. There were over 40 religious establishments in and around York, and the church was very actively involved in the economy of the country. But as you know from earlier on, Henry VIII, the same king who had 6 wives, destroyed the Catholic Church in England. And with the destruction of the church and the monasteries, thus the economy was destroyed, where places were dependent upon the church. And this town didn't really emerge from economic downturn until the 18th century. Well, it became quite fashionable. The race course was constructed, a lot of Georgian buildings were built at that time. These are buildings which we see replicated in Edinburgh and in Bath. You know, Georgian architecture goes back to the 18th, early 19th century, and it's so cool because we had so many kings called George at that time. So it's a beautiful style of architecture, actually, Georgian. And when you're up in Edinburgh and you're going around on the sightseeing tour, the new town is Georgian architecture. Or Palladian, as it's sometimes referred to too, because it was inspired by a Renaissance called Palladio. A very simple, elegant building. So there's a few Georgian buildings here. And then in the 19th century, as a consequence of the Industrial Revolution, York benefited. A number of industries took off. One being locomotives. It just lay at a point where locomotives were laid, and it became one of the centres for repairing and building trades, hence the Railway Museum. And just north of where we are now ran the very first public steam carrying train in the world, the Rocket. So there's always been a strong connection to the railway industry, and for some reason also chocolates and sweets. In that quite a number of companies had their headquarters here, notably Rowntree's, the biggest maker of sweets in the country. I happen to think Cadbury's are the nicest chocolates that we produce, and they are made in the middle of England. But Cadbury's are, you know, I like Cadbury's, but Terry's were a Yorkshire family, and Terry's are particularly known for making chocolate flavoured oranges. Or when I say chocolate flavored oranges, they make orange flavoured chocolate that looks like an orange, and it's a very popular small gift at Christmas time. But Terry's, they lived in Fairfax House, which is this 18th century property, which is there on the map. And sadly for everybody, after over 100 years of making chocolates in York, they moved their production process to Poland because of cheaper labour costs. So they left York altogether. But we have a chocolate museum in the centre of York at King Square, and it's a very nice little museum in that. I went in there and I quite enjoyed it. 20th century was a university.